Hello everybody. In this video what we're going to do is talk about Pluto. Pluto enters Aquarius on January 21st of 2024. In this video we're going to discuss what that means. We're going to discuss Pluto for all of 2024. We're going to go over its major aspects as well as its retrograde back into Capricorn and then settling into Aquarius. We're going to go over the exact dates, what this means, what it will be conjuncting or aspected to while it moves around, and how those aspects will impact everybody and how those aspects will impact you. Now, everybody isn't going to be extraordinarily impacted by Pluto's, everybody in general will be extraordinarily impacted by Pluto because Pluto is a generational impact. It impacts us as all of humanity on a broader scale, not just usually individuals specifically, but there are specific individuals whose natal suns are going to be very powerfully aspected to Pluto while it transits this year. So I'm going to get into who that is and how it's going to impact you. But let's start out first really broad, okay? Because I think that hands down, the transit of Pluto from Capricorn into Aquarius is the most important thing astrologically we can talk about this year. 2024, of course, is not the only, like Pluto will stay in Aquarius once it finally settles in later on this year. Pluto will stay in Aquarius for 19 years. And Pluto changes things. It shifts the energy of mankind when it enters different zodiac signs. So this is no small thing, and it will definitely impact us, since Pluto stays very tightly connected to Neptune and even Uranus throughout its transit through Aquarius. So these are very powerful, transformative, innovative, revolutionary kind of energies working together. So we can definitely expect a modernization through technology, through innovation, through scientific discovery. We can expect humanity to shift, change once again. But in terms of this video, I'm going to focus down on 2024 and what Pluto is aspecting and how that will impact all of us, and then the energies that will really focus on you. If your natal sun is conjunct to Pluto, opposite Pluto, square to Pluto, sextile or trine to Pluto, we're going to go over all those major aspects and who that's impacting. So Pluto, as you know, already went into Aquarius for a little while, a couple months last year. But then it retrograded all the way back to Capricorn, and it's been in Capricorn for the rest of the year. Now, it will once again retrograde. I think Pluto goes into retrograde in about May of this year, and then it will retrograde all the way back into Capricorn by September of this year. It's not going to stay there that long because it finishes its retrograde soon after, starts going direct, and Pluto will then move direct into Aquarius in November, and that's where it will stay. We're going to go over exact dates, but we're also going to talk about something really important, I think, that's happening because I'm coming to you from the US. Our presidential election happens on November 10th of 2024 of this year. And Pluto is still in Capricorn, though going direct at that time. It's just about to enter Aquarius permanently a couple of days later, about a week or so later. I'm going to go over how I think this will impact the presidential election as well. Let's get into the basics. What does Pluto rule? Well, it rules a metamorphic change, destruction, and regeneration. It rules extremes. It rules intolerance. It rules dominance. It's controlling energy. It rules the primal. So you can't ever really control Pluto energy. You just have to accept what's about to happen, because Pluto, if nothing else, is an inevitability. There's nothing that's going to stop it once it starts rolling, and now it's rolling into Aquarius. Pluto also rules, say, the underworld essence of spirituality as the whole, the light and the dark. It doesn't sift through the goody good stuff. It's all of it. It definitely rules the occult. It rules toxins and or toxic addictive energies. It's very obsessive energy. It's permanent energy. Pluto doesn't do flim-flam change. It doesn't do conceptual change. Pluto does permanent change. And that's why I say metamorphic. Because if you think of the the caterpillar to the butterfly, that's metamorphic change. The butterfly will never change back to the caterpillar. The butterfly certainly has to be the caterpillar before it becomes the butterfly. And the butterfly is constructed from the bits and pieces of the disintegrated caterpillar. That's what's actually going on inside of the cocoon. The cocoon is actually like a massacre. That's kind of what it is. It's really breaking down from the cellular level of that caterpillar so that all those bits and pieces can be reconstructed into the butterfly. And that's why the caterpillar, there's no sign of it. The butterfly lives completely different than the caterpillar does, but it must go through that stage. That's metamorphosis. This is destruction to create the building blocks for the new. Now, Pluto moving into Aquarius. What is Aquarius? Aquarius is community. Aquarius is the collective. Aquarius is innovation. Aquarius is the public. Aquarius is the collective mindset. Aquarius is fairness. Aquarius is liberty. Aquarius is truth. Aquarius is innovation. Aquarius is the unexpected or the unpredictable. So Pluto going into Aquarius is already sort of setting the scene for different kinds of uprisings or rebellions. And the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, Pluto transited into Aquarius in 1778. 1776 was when the United States declared independence. France also declared independence a little while later. There's a lot of independence that started to break out when Pluto was about to transit or tick-tocking back and forth between transiting into Aquarius, going back into Capricorn, going back into Aquarius again. So it does bring about revolution, but it also brings about this mentality of a crowd. Now, Pluto is sort of a concentration of power, and that's why you can't do anything about it. You can't change it once it's focused on its target. So the concentration of power now goes into the crowd mindset. And this is why rebellions happen, because the crowd's able to get its shit together, combine its strength, and focus in order to destroy whatever it was that it feels like it was being repressed by or contained by or ruled unfairly by. My question, though, as Pluto transits into Aquarius this time around, is what is it going to destroy? Because the ruling bodies back in 1778 were very clear. We still had a very traditional hierarchy of aristocracy and monarchy ruling most of the countries on the planet. Whether they were Western Europe, whether they were Middle Eastern, whether they were Asian, it didn't really matter. All that mattered, even if you look at like the Incan empires or the Mayan empires, which I'm a bad historian, but I'm sure they had changed before 1778. But all of the rule from that time came from a monarch or a very small group, like an oligarchy, a very privileged class that disseminated the rules and the laws for everybody else. Slavery was something that everybody did. It's a shame and it's disgusting, but people were pawns. Most people were pawns for the people at the top. So the concept that people should be the rulers of themselves and that they could design a kind of government where the people could rule through representation, but the representatives would never have the power. The power would remain with the people. This was a transformative concept. This was a concept that kind of like blew the top off of reality, because we'd never really thought of ruling masses of people that way before. And how do you even organize this? So the real revolutionary thing that happened during that time was not just the rebellions, because the rebellions had happened before, but it was one king usurping another king, one oligarchy usurping another. This time around, it was, how do we then, after we've cut off, not really cut off the head of the king, though in France they did that, but with the American Revolution, we did not cut off the head of King George III. No, we just revolted and said, we want to govern ourselves, and we refused to go back to the old system of a king should rule. And we thought, okay, so this was the real innovative energy of, okay, so how does that even look? How do we even get that done? What would that look like? Because we've never done something like that on this big of a scale before, at least not in Western European history. So really the innovative revolutionary thing was the government that we formed, dictated by our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. Like, this was really the innovative thing. Like I said, rebellion wasn't innovative. Rebellion had always happened, but it was replacing one ruler with another. This wasn't. This was replacing one concept with another. And so as we come full circle to Pluto coming back to Aquarius, how well have we done? And how true to our word have we stuck? I would argue not so well, because somehow, if you really look at it financially, people have taken over and created an oligarchy again simply by monopolizing where the money goes, and where the money goes is where the control comes from. And so if we're going to attack anything at this point, it's got to be those financial systems, because people who have power want to stay in it, and they don't take kindly to getting that power taken away. So they find ways to take the power back, and the power really has concentrated a lot on these financial systems, and by ruling through the control of who controls the money. Follow the money. Really interesting how it's happened, but it certainly has happened. And one would argue, if you've looked at the state of American government again, our representatives are absolutely not representing us, and I would argue that they haven't been representing us for the past 40 years. Like, it really has gotten that bad. So will there be another revolution? I don't know. I see the way that the public responded to the quote-unquote insurrection last January 6th. I do not personally feel that it was an insurrection at all. I think it was a protest that got a little out of hand, but I don't think it was an actual insurrection. But one could pose the argument, does our government not deserve to have some sort of a takeover or a take back? Because it really has taken its power and started to use it in horrible ways. And you can tell by the recession we're in again, how many recessions in just like a small amount of time. Our money's not being used correctly, all of these things. And the thing is, people know it. So what will be our reaction to it? Not quite sure. Let's get into it. That is, of course, speaking from the state of the United States, because that's where I live and my eyes kind of focused in. But Pluto in Aquarius can do some pretty powerful things, because it puts the power and the focus, the ability to focus the many into a combined power source that can really break through anything. The problem with Pluto in Aquarius can also, however, be that you have a hive mind, this sense, and that's actually contrary to anything that Aquarius freedom really is, because a hive mind always has one ruler. It always has somebody in there ready to take over those people who have just become drones. And so that's absolutely something that you have to watch out for. In fact, because Pluto is transiting into Aquarius while it is conjunct the sun. Not kidding you, folks. Pluto is conjunct the sun while it moves into Aquarius. It's got some other pretty strong aspects that I want to get into too. Let's talk about it. On the 21st, while Pluto is conjunct the sun, it moves into Aquarius. It will remain conjunct the sun through the 26th. So, no. Yeah. This is going to be especially huge for people who are born at the very end of Capricorn season, the very beginning of Aquarius season. So people who are pretty much born between, say, January maybe 19th through January 26th. Especially you guys, there will be this concentration of energy because you will have the current sun conjuncting your natal sun, and you will have Pluto conjuncting your natal suns, and they'll be happening at the same time during a transit, while both of these very, very powerful energies, impactful energies shift into a new zodiac sign. So the power and the consciousness of the collective will really take over and possess you. Let's talk a little bit about what Pluto conjuncting your natal sun means. When Pluto conjuncts your natal sun, it gives an air of, I'm not taking no shit, right? But because Pluto is conjunct the sun while it's conjuncting your natal suns, there is an intense ego shift that will happen. Not taking no for an answer, demanding, assertive energy, insistent, dominant, and controlling in a way that you may not even perceive is happening to you, but other people will perceive it. And a lot of times people get really intimidated as that configuration is happening. So it's something for you to be particularly aware of. Now, on the opposite end of the zodiac, we have Leo ones. Now, you could argue that, yes, Pluto is still going to be impacting Cancer 3s as well. So I would say anybody born between, say, July 19th, 20th through the 26th of July is going to feel the most impact. So the end of Cancer 3s to the very beginning of Leo 1s. If that's your birthday, July, say, 19th, 20th through July 26th, pay attention. Because while Pluto and the sun transit into Aquarius, they are going to be in opposition to your natal suns. This could be a real eye-opening experience with extreme insecurities, how you see yourself and how others see you. It could be a public or reputation hanging, or suddenly they reinterpret you, and people become very intolerant towards you because they feel like you're aggressing. Now, maybe you're getting more aggressive. Maybe you're getting more intolerant. And any kind of interaction with Pluto, you want to watch for your tolerance levels, because you can really become more extreme than you normally are, and less patient and more willing to go to a destructive length than you normally would be. And it's something that you guys have to watch out for. Both those of you born in January 19th or January 26th, July 19th through July 26th. But all of you guys got to really watch and pay attention. You can't control it, but to be aware of it could help you mitigate it a little bit, because there's going to be just powerful energy that is going to impact how you want your life, how you see yourself, and what you think you are worthy of. That opposition, people born in July, however, is going to be more tense for you, where you're going to see more people kind of trying to pound you down, right? Stop you, block you, or not really want to tolerate you. So what am I saying this to you for? It's not something that you can avoid, but it's definitely something that if you're aware of, you can sort of see, okay, what can I do to help ease things out? Or what can I do to help focus and concentrate this energy, especially if you're really driven by something? It doesn't always have to bring bad change at all. I've actually witnessed beautiful metamorphosis with my Capricornian friend when Pluto was conjunct her natal sun a couple of years ago, and beautiful. But of course, it's like her old life was completely ruined, and then she got this beautiful new life. But while she was going through the loss of her job, boyfriend breaking up with her, then another boyfriend breaking up with her, couldn't afford her house, loss of all the money that she'd saved. I mean, huge shit happened to her when Pluto was conjuncting her natal sun. But it was really taking all of that crap that she'd clung to away so that she could experience this beautiful energy of really what she'd always prayed for. And that's what she lives now. And I can't even tell you, it's a dream life. It's a dream life with multiple homes and a rich spouse. So I'm not saying that's where you all end up, but I'm saying that what you think is destroying you is actually destroying you to rebuild you. And what can come out on the other side is something quite exceptional. And it'll be predominantly you guys that will be experiencing that kind of metamorphic change. Remember, if there's any tension, that tension will become now, since Pluto is not shifting from in Capricorn. It's not about money or job or work. Now it's about public opinion. Now it's going to be about what's popular, the public mindset. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be what you feel is most rejecting you, most standing in your way, taking away from you, combating you, robbing you of all the things that you held dear. It could be that actually is what any kind of rebellions or revolutions that start to happen. It could be those things that end up stripping you of all that you have. So just an FYI, because this is going to go on for the next couple of years for you guys. This isn't the sun. Yes, the sun will pass in about 6 days, but Pluto will not. Pluto will be there for the next couple of years. And so the next couple of years will be quite transformative, chaotic, and crazy for you. The only way to get through this is to have a strong group of people who love you and constantly remind you of your value and will help you when you need it. So I pray that you all have that. I don't mean, and I'm not trying to scare you. It's just very, it's big energy. Now let's go on to the other people that I think this will impact a lot. We have Taurus ones and Scorpio ones. Now, this is people born between, say, April 22nd and through the 26th, or October 22nd through the 26th. It's your natal suns that are going to be squaring this transit as Pluto transits into Aquarius, and it'll stay square to Pluto throughout 2024. What does this mean? Well, Taurus ones, while this transit happens, not all year, but while this transit happens, your natal suns are also conjunct to Jupiter. So extremes, major expansion that shifts power dynamics. You're going to start to see that. And then on Scorpio ones, there's nothing conjuncting your natal suns while the transit happens. But this square to this transit challenges to your social status or your social standing or the groups you belong to. You could really start to see shifts in that energy, especially over the next year as Pluto remains square to your natal sun. The way these shifts are going to come is because Pluto is acting on your natal sun. So it's taking you now to the extremes. You're not going to be as tolerant of things as you used to, and you'll see that your ego starts to shift. What you once liked, you can't tolerate anymore. There is that energy of you're actually the change, and that's why you don't fit in where you used to anymore. Or you're going to see these challenges that come in that help to strengthen your conviction and help you to understand on a deeper level why you're there and what your purpose is. Squares don't always have to be as extreme as oppositions or conjunctions. Squares are really just a buildup of energy that wants to be released, and it's challenging you until it is. So it really is a teaching mechanism for the universe that the universe uses, and it's extreme. It's extreme. You'll feel it. You'll feel the push. You'll feel like just more, I don't want to say angry, but it kind of is angry. It kind of is a feeling of an angry energy, since Pluto is a higher expression of that Mars energy, and Scorpio is especially ruled by both Pluto and Mars. Interesting energy, though, impacting Tauruses, because Taurus does rule financials. So there's going to be a lot of challenges, especially when it comes to how do we use our resources? Do we even have enough resources to use? A real strain can be put on our current resources as well as the value of them. That's something to watch, because those financial things are really going to cause a lot of friction all year long. Now, let's get into a little bit of the helpful energy. And yes, absolutely, there can be more helpful aspects to Pluto. We're going to go into Aries 1. So Aries, if you're Aries that are born between March 22nd and March 26th. So Aries 1 goes from the 22nd through the 30th and to May 1st. But it's really those of you born from the March 22nd to the 26th. This is actually forming a sextile. This transit is actually sextile to your natal suns. What does that mean? It's a helpful boost to your influence over people and the respect that they show you. Now, Sagittarius, you'll be experiencing a similar impact. Absolutely. Why? Because it's a sextile. It's a stimulation. It's a push forward. It's an innovation. And it's almost like, because this is a sextile to your natal sun, you have more power and influence over people than you normally do. So there's more of your ability to actually use this energy to push forward. So it can be actually very helpful and productive energy for you all year long. And then we have, and especially during that first week where the sun will be sextile to your natal suns as well, like I think January 21st to the 26th, you'll just shine. This is a time for you to really can just take the spotlight and really grab and captivate people's attention, and then use that all year long to continue to push forward. Very innovative energy, very productive energy. Now, also, it is a way of self-motivation to sort of take control over yourself and really start new routines for yourself, to change your body, change your look, change your career. Whatever changes you've been wanting to make, you're kind of blessed with the perfect energy to start really burst and catalyze those changes from January 21st to January 26th, and keep those changes happening and rolling all year long. Now, then we have Gemini ones and Libra ones. Now, since this transit is going into Aquarius ones, there's a trine between Gemini ones and Libra ones, or the natal suns of Gemini ones and Libra ones. Now, Gemini ones, this is those of you born especially between May 22nd and May 26th. And Libra ones, this is those of you born October 22nd through October 26th. Use, guys, harmony or excitement of social harmony or easement of social pressures or approval. So there is this sense of pressure being off, people understanding you or comprehending you better, being able to find that there's a fluency, or people laying off you a little bit, maybe trusting you more. The energy is more into just allowing, and the world opening up for you in that way. So that's actually really good. Now, Gemini ones, on January 1st, the moon is actually going to be conjunct to your natal suns. So it's going to be an extremely emotional time, a time of emotional release. But this emotional release is going to end up in or pave the way for balance and harmony. Could even have some sort of situationship when it comes to your mother, an easement or a balancing, a peace that's finally made with any kind of family issues you had around the mother, emotional release, allowing this energy to just flow out and finally be disseminated and not impact you anymore. So expect, especially Geminis, that to be a very emotionally and perhaps family focused energy, but certainly Gemini and Libras, it will catalyze this energy of easement and social change that has a fluency to it that will actually help to ease out and harmonize different aspects of your life. Now what we're going to do is go into different points in the year that Pluto's really going to have a particular impact, and I wanted to bring it to your attention. So February 4th through the 9th, Mercury is going to conjunct and costume change. No, guys, I'm sorry. I had to film this on different days because my phone's memory was not allowing me to continue the way that I wanted to. But we're just going to jump right back in. So February is a pretty big month here for Pluto because Pluto now has just entered Aquarius and it is conjuncting the natal suns of those of you born February or January Aquarian, so January 22nd to the 26th especially. But Capricorn 3s that are born, say, the 20th and 21st are going to be still feeling this as well. February 4th through the 9th, Mercury conjuncts Pluto in Aquarius. What does that mean? Well, for those of you with the birthdays between, I would say, especially January 22nd to January 26th, so early Aquarian ones, the cuspers, Mercury conjunct Pluto is all about intense conversation. It's all about intense intellect. It's all about just digging down deep into information and discovery and not really accepting shallow answers. Like, at this point, you're going to need the good stuff, the juicy stuff. You're going to need, thanks, Tree. You're going to need, thank you. You're going to need all of the information, even the uncomfortable information. You're going to need it. And then we have across the way, remember, Leo ones, early Leo ones, born July 22nd through the 26th. You guys especially too, it's going to be in opposition to your natal suns. So there is this level of intense information that could really disrupt or oppose the kind of energy that you're used to feeling. This sense of information that comes out that changes things for you or makes you realize things that are uncomfortable for you that you weren't ready to discover. But there is, between the both of you, this need to get to the bottom of things and this deepening, especially for Aquarian ones, of conversations. Like, shallow conversations just won't do. And then we have February 8th. February 8th, the moon will conjunct Pluto. This is especially for Aquarius ones. This is going to be an emotional day for you. It just is. When the moon conjuncts Pluto, there's a lot of extreme emotions and extreme mood swings. And Aquarians, you're going to feel like Cancerians feel all the time. If you have any Cancerian friends, you might want to kiss them or give them a hug, because honestly, this day, February 8th, is what we go through all the time. Extreme emotions and extreme mood shifts. But because Pluto is involved, there's a lot of unexpected toxic emotions that might come to the surface as well. Then we have February 9th through the 20th. This is not the only time that Mars is in Aquarius, but it is when it is going to be impacting you guys, and it is going to be conjuncting Pluto. Mars conjuncts Pluto February 9th through the 20th. Why is this important? Because when Mars conjuncts Pluto, wars happen. I'm not kidding. Like, the shit in Israel that happened, that was Mars square Pluto. It's not an accident. Mars and Pluto, there's war. There's anger, there's outbursts, there's dominance, there's rage, there's control. So understand that this is extraordinarily intense energy that is not, I would say you can't control it. All you can do is try to empathize with yourself and put yourself into situations where the energy doesn't put you into a bad situation, because Mars conjunct your natal sun, though it can be really good sometimes, actually just could give you bursts of energy and higher energy levels and put you into your body more and make you more physical. Mars conjuncting Pluto conjuncting your natal sun can easily lead to more injuries or attacks, or it could lead you to be more aggressive. So not the easiest of time periods for you guys. Then we have February 13th, Venus conjuncts Pluto in Aquarius and stays there through the 21st. So we have actually, between the 15th and the 20th, especially, or between the 13th and the 20th, but the 15th and the 20th especially, we have Venus conjunct Mars, conjunct Pluto, conjunct your natal suns. And I said, this is some real Helen of Troy shit. Like globally, this would be around the time when big stuff happens because of stupid crap. Like I would say a lot of crimes of the heart kind of energy. So it is going to be challenging. And love, intense attraction, obsessive attraction, where we can act out in extreme ways. This is a time when I really want you, especially Aquarian ones and maybe even Leo ones, to be very, very wary of February, let's just say 4th through the 20th, going to be a lot of stuff raging. And I think globally we could see some major outbursts then. I wrote down in my notes, intense attraction, fatal attraction, a call to arms over love, extreme measures for love, and huge relationship shifts can happen during this time. That's a big time for you guys. I'm not even gonna try to say it any other way. God bless you, Starbucks. I'm just gonna say it. So many reasons, so many ways you've made me so happy. No, this is not a paid promotion. I just appreciate you guys. Hold on. Then we have Aries. Aries 1. Those of you born, especially those of you born, I would say, between March 22nd and March 26th. So as those of you born on the Aries Pisces cusp, like those, is it? Yeah, cusp. This is from, not the birthdays now, this is the dates. From March 10th, Mercury enters Aries. And then March 20th, the Sun enters Aries. So know that, remember now, Aries 1s, you guys are sextile to this Pluto, where Pluto's position is now. Now, some of you early on in Aries season, you're already sextile to Pluto because you've been sextile to Pluto for a while, because it's been 28, 29 degrees Capricorn, and you guys are close enough to Pisces to have that sextile the whole time. So some of you won't feel a major shift, but you will when it moves. No. All of you will feel a major shift when it moves into a new zodiac sign, because it will change energies and it'll impact how the sextile is projecting itself in your life. Like I said, suddenly it can turn into you having more influence over the public, over public opinion, or your popularity skyrockets in some way. So on March 10th, Mercury will conjunct Pluto. So Mercury will conjunct your natal suns, because it will enter Aries. It will enter Aries. So what does that mean? Well, Mercury is conjunct your natal sun, and then it is going to sextile. Yeah, and then it is going to be sextile to Pluto. That's really good information coming in, information that you can use, and it will be really productive. And then we have the Sun enters Aries on March 20th. Aries season begins real early this year. So the Sun enters Aries. It will conjunct your natal sun, and it will be sextile to Pluto. This will be a huge time between maybe March 20th to the 25th. For you guys born in the beginning of Aries season, this will be a beautiful time of really being seen and really being taken seriously and having a lot of charisma. And people will almost be like you'll be a magnet. You'll have gravity to you that you haven't had before. So this is actually very helpful energy. On April 5th, Venus moves into Aries and will conjunct the natal suns of those of you early Aries ones. So on April 5th, Venus conjuncting your natal sun, sextile to Pluto, intense attractiveness, intense beauty. You'll find people almost becoming obsessed with you. Like your sexuality and sensuality will be off the hook. There is just this energy of, like, once again, that gravitational pull toward you. And then May 1st, Mars enters Aries. And Mars will conjunct your natal sun and be sextile to Pluto. Very different effect than the Aquarians and Leos are going to experience in February, because you have a sextile. Aspects are important, my friends. So we have May 1st, Mars comes into Aries, conjuncts your natal sun. What does that mean when Mars conjuncts your natal sun? Well, remember, Mars is conjuncting your natal sun. But unlike in February, unlike in Aquarius, where Mars was conjunct Pluto, conjunct their natal suns, Mars is now just conjunct your natal sun. So that's a much less destructive energy without Pluto involved in the conjunction. In fact, Pluto sextiling that conjunction just intensifies the spectacular energy boost that it can give you. Yes, it can give you more intensity and can make you do more extreme things, but there is a fortunate aspect to it that can help you avoid injury. I'm not saying take risks, but if you're ever going to want to bungee jump or try bungee jumping, May 1st through, say, May 5th, 6th is probably the best time for you to do it. Just letting you know. Some wild stuff. You'll just feel the intensity. You'll feel your physicality. You might even feel a higher boost or a higher sex drive. That can happen with those energies too. So good times for all. I got so many pages, guys. Bear with me. Taurus 1. Let's go back. So Taurus 1s, those of you born, I think it's the end of, I always get these dates confused, so hold on. The end of April. So those of you that are Taurus 1, say born between, say, April 22nd and April 26th, your natal suns are now going to be square to Pluto, and they're going to be square to Pluto for the next, like, 2 years. This can be rough energy because it makes everything feel more extreme, and it really works on your last nerve. Like, you'll experience yourself suddenly becoming more short with people, not taking bullshit or crap. You'll have more of a challenge actually controlling yourself, because Pluto likes to dominate and take over, and you'll like to start dominating and taking over. It can be very challenging. This is a square. It's just challenging you to understand your darker aspects in order for them to not always get the best of you. Now, this can also intensify your energy to the point where people become extremely intimidated by you without you even doing anything. So it's important that you know this. On April 30th, I've written down, on April 20th, the sun enters Taurus. So the sun will conjunct your natal sun and be square to Pluto. This becomes very dominant energy, very I'm right, very do things my way, very I'm going to get attention or I'm going to be pissed kind of energy. So it can cause challenges for you in that first week of April. April, say 20th to the 27th. Then on April 30th, Venus enters Taurus. Now, Venus is at home in Taurus. This is really beautiful energy. But because there's a square to Pluto, there is also this intense sexuality, going to the extremes, overindulging and maybe even becoming obsessive or too dependent upon how I look, how I feel about myself, people noticing me, people paying attention to me, or the likelihood of getting into an obsessive situation, an obsessive relationship goes up, say from April 30th through the 36th. Through May 6th. I apologize, there's not 36 days in a month. On May 16th, Mercury enters Taurus, and that squares Pluto, right? It conjuncts your natal sun, which makes your brain very bright. But the square to Pluto is also going to make you almost like obsessively digging into things that going deeper than maybe you even have to go, or wanting more information than you usually do, needing more information. It's going to beg you and almost compel you to dig deeper. Go even deeper into that information, maybe even information that comes up that you aren't prepared for. And then you got to bear with me because Mars enters Taurus on June 10th. This is very difficult energy, Taurus ones, because Mars square to Pluto, like I said, is when war happened. So globally, this is an intense time as Mars goes into Taurus, especially because, so Mars will conjunct your natal suns. That's great. That's usually like an energy boost and a confidence boost. It's usually an energy confidence boost, but square to Pluto can bring much greater risk of injury or extreme reactions and just becoming angrier and more physically angry than you usually are. So be aware of, say, the 10th through the 16th for you guys can be a more challenging, intense time for you. It's good for you to get into your body, but with that square to Pluto, get into your body in ways that you're already familiar with, in ways that you already know. Going to the extremes with a square, with your natal suns conjunct to Mars, square to Pluto, it's almost like asking for injury. Much greater time, physical risk. Just an FYI. Let's go to Gemini 1. So Gemini 1, Jupiter moves into Gemini on May 26th. Now, Jupiter does bring blessings. It brings optimism. But Jupiter conjunct the natal sun is actually more difficult than I think people talk about. Because even though it makes you really optimistic, it also makes you overly optimistic. And it kind of makes you feel bigger about yourself than you are, or that other people interpret. You know, Jupiter in conjuncting a natal sun can make you think, oh yeah, I can learn to play a piano just by taking one lesson. It's like you're overly optimistic and overly confident in your capabilities. So what you think you mean, you may not mean. So it's very difficult. You could get a big head. So when Jupiter conjuncts your natal sun, watch out for the big-headedness. If you stay just in its beautiful optimism that it gives to you, you're going to be in the sweet zone of this conjunction. So, because your sense of yourself will get way bigger. I'm just letting you know. So Pluto all year long is going to be trine to your natal suns. But when Jupiter then conjuncts your natal suns, Jupiter is trine to Pluto. And it's sextile to Neptune. This is innovative and groundbreaking knowledge and communication. Jupiter loves to learn, loves information. So this is a beautiful time of expansion, innovating, and huge creativity bursts coming out of you guys by May 26th. While conjunction to Venus into Gemini on the 24th, Sun into Gemini on the 21st. So you have the Sun entering Gemini, conjuncting your natal suns, Gemini ones, on May 21st. And then Venus follows on May 24th. And then Jupiter follows on May 26th. This is actually a beautiful time period for you because your natal suns are going to be conjunct some of the most benefic and optimistic and creative planets, the Sun, Venus, and then Jupiter. Now, the Sun and Venus will move relatively quickly, but Jupiter will stay with you for a couple of months. And this is really freaking beautiful energy. Trine to Pluto, this is about almost like a religious kind of growth in faith, a growth through faith, like opening yourself up, changing your ideals, allowing yourself to be interested in things that you weren't interested before. This is actually a really expansive time for you. It's powerful. You'll have a lot of gravity about your character, a lot of gravity about your energy. You'll have a lot of like sort of harmonizing things that were difficult, starting to you be able to find solutions to them. This is a really nice time for you guys. Leo ones. Now, I've talked back and forth to you guys throughout this whole video, so definitely go back. I know it's like, Michelle, why can't you put Leo ones all in one category? My brain doesn't work that way, and I'm sorry, but it just doesn't. Leo ones. On July 22nd, the Sun enters Leo. That means it is opposite Pluto. It's conjunct your natal suns, but it's opposite Pluto. This will give you an intense understanding of who you are and an actualization of who you want to be and the changes and the changes that you have to make, or changes that have to happen within your character. I wrote this down. Let me say this. August 27th through September 2nd, Pluto, Uranus, and Venus form a grand trine. That's really interesting. Okay. Pluto, Uranus, and Venus. This can be major shifts and changes in financial systems, especially with harmonizing and rebalancing financial systems. So especially if there's been a lot of shit and there's been a lot of crap happening with finances, come August 27th through September 2nd, this Pluto, Uranus, Venus shift can be very, very innovative when it comes to new technology, financial technology, easing it out, new discoveries, kind of groundbreaking, game-changing kind of stuff, programs, technologies coming out. And since it's a trine, it could be helpful. It could also make us slack off too much. But I'm feeling optimism there, so let's go with that. Surprise shifts in value, money, and attraction. What we value. There could be surprise, because Uranus is surprising as well. It's not just technology. Surprise could be breakthroughs, innovations, or simply just surprise shifts in what we value or how our monetary systems start to work. That's global. And that's between, what did I say, August 27th and September 2nd. So that's sort of longer term, that's sort of global. It's not for anybody specific, but I did just want to mention that because Uranus is the planet of surprises. It's the planet of rebellion. It's the planet of I don't want to be predictable. It's also the planet that connects the ethereal, the infinite, to the real world, usually through mathematics and technology. So it's almost like something that you never thought was possible is going to suddenly surprise you, because suddenly, bam, innovation, it is possible. And that could really make the value systems, our money systems globally switch or change. And simply and certainly, especially for those of you in Aquarius 1 who are conjunct that Pluto, there is that whose natal suns, I should say, are conjunct the Pluto, your value systems, money, who you're attracted to, there could be this beautiful energy of balancing out, regrouping, or having other alternatives or options that support a tranquility and an easement in your life. Or you could be coming up with you could be the one that's innovating and be unveiling unveiling or debuting some sort of huge tech. On May 3rd, Pluto goes retrograde. Now, Pluto goes retrograde basically almost late spring, early summer, usually during the summer, Northern Hemisphere summer, excuse me. Usually during Northern Hemisphere summer, Pluto will be always retrograde. So it's not like this huge, why is Pluto retrograde? When Pluto goes retrograde, it eases up a little. We don't hear it as much. We don't feel it till later on. It's more watchful and searching. So May 3rd, Pluto goes retrograde. September 2nd, Pluto will retrograde all the way back into Capricorn. It will stay at 29 degrees Capricorn. So Aquarius ones, your natal suns have been, mostly on the cusp, your natal suns have already been, for the past year, have already been conjunct to Pluto. But it will go back into Capricorn. Why is this important when Pluto goes back into Capricorn? Because Pluto in Capricorn is all about dynamic changes, infiltration, toxins, and craziness, exploding and ruining and tearing apart all that stuff happening through our I would say corporations, businesses, right? Could be big banks, all of those things. So suddenly there becomes a shift. And I want you to pay attention to this shift because that puts Pluto at 29 degrees Capricorn. There is a potential presidential candidate whose natal sun is about 25, 26 degrees Capricorn, and that is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So Pluto will actually stay at 29 degrees Capricorn, will be at 29 degrees Capricorn during the presidential election on November 10th, because Pluto actually doesn't come out of, it'll go out of retrograde, it'd actually be going direct. So, hold on. It goes direct on October 12th, while conjunct to the moon. So this is a huge mood shift or mood swing around October 12th. Then Pluto goes direct. Now Pluto is still at 29 degrees Capricorn, however, when it starts going direct. And on the 10th, when our elections in the US happen, Pluto is direct, but in Capricorn at 29 degrees. And that puts it in a 5-degree, 4-degree conjunction with the natal sun of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Now, Pluto conjunct your natal sun is difficult energy, but it's also powerful. It's gravity. It's a huge shift in the way that you see yourself in a major life change that happens. On this day, Pluto, hold on a second. Okay. Pluto is back into Aquarius to stay for the next 18 3/4 years on November 19th. Okay, so on November 19th, Pluto goes back into Aquarius, but it is opposite Mars, which is then in Leo. What this does is start to aim or form a huge target on somebody's head. Or it's bringing out a bunch of truths. I'm just saying, I would worry for Mr. Kennedy, especially considering his family's history. I would worry. Most especially if the election goes well for him, which it very well could. But I would worry that come the 19th, there's a target on his head. I would worry that. I would worry. So let's pray that by that point, he has a bunch of security around him. Let's do that. Okay, so on this day, Pluto is opposite Mars in Leo. The Sun is in Sagittarius, opposite Uranus in Taurus. Mercury is in Sagittarius, opposite Jupiter in Gemini, which is like big talk, right? And then Pluto is sextile to the Sun. Strong words, moves, and leadership, especially by Sagittarius ones. So Sagittarius ones, you're going to see really strong, powerful words or moves toward leadership. But on this day, it will go to war for independence. Could be making really big statements. So this is around November 19th. Major shift, major change, and maybe extreme action taken, aggressive action taken. Does it have to be violence? Usually with Mars and Pluto, it's going to be fucking violence. And with all those oppositions in the fucking sky, you have the Sun opposite Uranus, you have Mercury opposite Jupiter, big words, tough talk. You have Pluto opposite Mars, battle, pugilistic, anger, violence. And then simultaneously the Pluto has been all year sextile to Sagittarius 1, so it could be some sort of big talk or big energy from somebody who's born in those first couple of days of Sagittarius, so November 22nd through the 26th. Look for that birthday. But also just look for that energy around that time, because there's just so many oppositions. And with Pluto going direct, when it's opposite Mars, this could be major oppositional energy or huge breakthroughs. Either way, I don't see this as being a really passive time. I see this as being a very difficult, hard to miss, and game-changing period around November 19th of 2024. So Aquarius ones, I wanted to bring this to your attention. December 7th, Venus conjuncts Pluto again through December 13th. Well, Venus will stay for you guys. Venus is going to come back around and be in Aquarius again. So Venus is actually forming a full circle, going for a circle from the beginning of this year in February, right? February 4th, I think it was. It's going to go back into Aquarius on December 7th. And once again, conjunct Pluto. That's a loop. That's a full circuit. That's a full turnaround. So something that begins February 4th, around that time, with that intense conjunction between your natal suns, Venus, and Pluto, it's going to come back around and fulfill itself and complete itself. It's got to do with love. It's got to do with money. It's got to do with what you desire. And being insistent on getting what you want. Could also be beautiful, creative energy too. So if that's the way to express yourself in your life, Aquarius ones, all of a sudden this huge outburst of creativity, full circle completion by December 7th. This is a full circle from February 13th through the 21st, that conjunction. So it wasn't February 4th. February 4th is when Mercury entered Aquarius. So it's from February 13th to the 21st. So whatever happened around then, this comes to a full completion. This time, it's going to be trine with the South Node, Uranus, and the Moon. So that can bring a lot of surprising happiness, surprising emotions, surprising feelings, and tranquility about those shifts and changes. Sort of innovations in your life, something that you weren't ready for back in February, you could be very easily ready for and accepting of, and it may shock you, but very easily ready for and accepting of come December. That's an FYI for you guys. Okay. One more page, and I swear to God, I'll let you guys go. Pluto in opposition to Mars. October 27th through January 17th. Mars goes retrograde on December 7th. Mars opposite Pluto. So, okay. Mars actually is opposite Pluto from October 27th through January 17th. The reason why it intensifies is because Pluto comes direct on the 19th while it's still opposite Mars. That's an intense energy. So October 27th through January 17th, intense energy with Pluto opposite Mars anyway. But when it goes direct, when it shifts direct, and we have all those other oppositions going on at the same time, around November 19th, this is a huge day. November 5th, I kept saying November 10th, I apologize. November 5th is the 2024 U.S. presidential elections. Pluto is going direct in Capricorn at 29 degrees, conjunct natal suns. Conjunct the natal suns of Capricorn. Yes, Capricorn Aquarius cusps. So let me get this straight. Anybody born between the 15th and the 21st of January, this is majorly conjunct your natal suns. In opposition to Mars in Leo, which is all about itself and all about fighting for itself and insisting that this is like I'm a king and I don't want to give up my throne. Right? Anger, contention, war, insistence, and danger. It's also going to be trine to Uranus, trine the south node, sextile the north node, looking toward the future. Really, really feeling competent in itself. Almost entitlement. That's what it feels like. Pluto conjunct the natal sun of RFK Jr. It's trining the suns of Gemini 1. But the Pluto's been doing that all year. So I really want you guys to watch that energy around, especially between, so the election happens on November 5th. If anything, it could work in his favor, but it could also put a target on his head. Just an FYI. That's all I'm saying. I don't know how else to say it. As far as you guys go personally in your life, let's recap. Aquarius 1s and Leo 1s. Very intense year for you. And you're going to feel these shifts, especially during February when all of those planets start to tag Pluto because they conjunct Pluto between the 4th and the 20th. Especially with Venus and Mars conjuncting it at the same time. These are huge days for you. February, say 13th to the 21st especially. Huge days of shifts and changes and surprises that may really permanent answers, permanent changes and shifts in your life, especially with your relationships. Intense. You also have intensity, Aries and Gemini. You also are going to experience that intensity. Sagittarius, you're going to experience that intensity, Aries, but in a different way because there's a sextile there. And the sextiles are very helpful and progressive. So these could be very groundbreaking energies for you that put you out on top or help to shift things so that you make a lot of progress this year. And then in recap, Gemini and Libra. 1s, trine to everything that's going on with Pluto. This could bring about a lot of acceptance in your life and acceptance of you externally. A sense of people feeling comfortable with you in almost a magnetic way that could help you kind of ease out different difficulties in your life. So a lot of different people impacted different ways, and I hope I was clear enough. Feel free to leave comments below. If you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them for you. If you want a reading, I would say this is a great time, especially if you're one of those signs, especially Aquarius and Leo. I think I'm going to be getting a lot of inquiries for you guys, but I do personal readings, and I can dive deep into your chart in particular to help you go over them. Check out my website, bornwithoutboundariestarot.com. Schedule your appointments. But ultimately, there's a lot of things that are happening this year that are all about intensity and dynamic change. But it's permanent change. We're not coming back from this. And over the next 20 years, for those of us who are still alive, we're going to see changes that will probably reconstruct our society on a lot of levels. So feel free to leave your comments below. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you want to try to put timestamps, feel free. I really don't know how, because I was all over the place, because so much of this intertwines and works together. And that's why I think it's so important for us to watch the whole video. Sometimes, you know, it's just necessary. But do feel free to ask questions and schedule those personal readings with me. I love you guys so much, and have a safe, happy, healthy, and dynamic 2024. Bye.